Deputy Naughton.
Much, and I'd like to first of all thank the witnesses for your attendance this morning and your very comprehensive opening statements. I'd like to direct my questions at Dr. Pat Nash, Clinical Director of the Sailta Group. University Hospital Galway has been frequently on code black, and maximum capacity protocol has been implemented on a number of occasions recently. And as stated by Mr. Power in his opening statement, the Sailta Group provides care for 830,000 people within the catchment area. Dr. Nash, how has the designation of University Hospital Galway as a centre of excellence affected the hospital? It's the only Model 4 hospital from Donegal right down to Limerick. And what shocks me is that I believe it has actually had an adverse effect on the capacity at that hospital. That's notwithstanding the exceptional expertise of the staff working at University Hospital Galway. Also, could you comment on the average length or rate of stay at UHG comparable to other Model 4 hospitals across the country? I understand that it's better than most, which would be a positive reflection on your staff, your doctors and nurses working there, which would, to me, prove that there is a capacity issue. Also, in relation to the amount of capital investment at UHG over the last 10 years, there has been €109 million spent, but that has led to a reduction of about 157 beds in that 10-year space, despite the €109 million having been spent on capital investment. And as a clinician and someone who's working on the coalface, how has that impacted the day-to-day running of the hospital from the point of view of the patient and also your colleagues? We have the other side. Mr. Power made reference to the Merlin Park site and the need for a new acute hospital in Galway. This is a site of approximately 150 acres of state-owned land, and I know over the years beds have been moved from Merlin Park to UHG, and some have disappeared altogether. And in your view, has this been a retrograde step in hindsight, looking back? And does a new acute hospital have the support of senior clinicians at University Hospital Galway? On this committee over the last number of weeks and months, we've had a lot of discussions in relation to community care, the need for primary care centres, and how that would alleviate and take pressure off our hospitals right across the country. And I think it would be important to get your viewpoint on that in relation to the Sailta Hospital Group, the catchment area that it serves, and would that make a huge difference in relation to the need for extra bed capacity? Thank you.
In response to Deputy Naughton's questions, I think Galway is particularly under major pressure, and part of that is due to the fact that the group was created without any planning. The hospitals, the alignment of the hospitals, it's the only Model 4 hospital in a very large group, and we have 4 Model 3 hospitals, and I suppose we're seeing the impact of the group on Galway with a marked increase in the referral of appropriate tertiary services, while there hasn't been a clear planning for the capacity or to manage the secondary care issues for the counties of Galway and Roscommon, which are our immediate catchment area. Deputy Naughton highlighted the Galway hospital site is currently overwhelmed. There isn't additional capacity we can turn on there. All beds are open, and I would agree with Maurice Power that Galway needs a new ED, but it ultimately needs a new hospital to be able to a planned new hospital to supply to be able to serve the 6 counties of the west northwest. Going on to the integration with the community, I think that's a critical issue. In Sailta we have 2 community health organisations, CHO 1 and 2, and the boundaries aren't the geographical boundaries aren't the same, and I think that's a big issue because we're looking after the same people and patients, and we have different accountabilities, and so that the key to proper and full integration of services, and I fully agree with everybody who's saying that, you know, the key to addressing part of the overcrowding in hospitals is looking at chronic disease and elderly patients, but that requires integrated governance to be able to manage them, because they're separate governance structures, and I fully agree that we need an integrated structure. I wouldn't necessarily agree in the short term. I think if you try and move funding from the acutes to the community without having a single governance, that's going to have an adverse effect on a huge adverse effect on the acute hospital sector.
Dr. Nat, if you could just come back in with regard to the average length rate of stay at UHG, and just comment on the move from the beds moving from Merlin Park site to UHG and the reduction, and whether that, in your view, in hindsight, now was a retrograde step, and also in relation to the view of your colleagues, senior clinicians at UHG, with the need for a new hospital.
So the average length of stay in Galway is short. The exact figure is 5.7 days. I mean, when you generalise it across medicine, that's medicine and surgery. Overall, it's 4.3 days, but you need to break it down by medicine and surgery to get meaningful. But it is short because traditionally Galway did not have major problems with delaying in discharging patients into the community. That has become more of an issue in the last 12 months. The Merlin Park site is a large site. It was previously the profile of the care that's delivered on the site has changed in the last 4 years, because it was no longer felt appropriate for acute care on selected medicine to be admitted there. So that did put an additional pressure. We did open some capacity in Galway. That was 2012. So it was necessary to ensure and maintain the safety of care there. And I think I'm speaking as a clinician, we made a submission as a group of clinicians in Galway to this committee that there is overwhelming support for investment in infrastructure and a new hospital build in Galway. We need a new ED, but it needs to be the ED is only the front door of a hospital. It needs to be a comprehensive to look at the entire hospital to be able to manage.